sir, Your Honor. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Chief.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. Hopefully the storm won't hit. We'll be without power, but it's a safe place to be. All right. Everyone had a chance to read the minutes from the prior meeting.
Second.
Got a motion from Commissioner House to approve, second by Commissioner Townsend. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Darden? Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Townsend?
Yes.
Commissioner House?
Thank you, guys. All right, in old business, I don't think Ms. Core is here tonight.
She's still in Florida.
Is she? Okay, all right. We'll table the rail fan platform until the next meeting. We'll, Madam Clerk, see if we can get in contact with Ms. Blackcheck and see if she wants to come to the next meeting.
Okay.
All right. So now we have the second reading of the approval of the budget.
Move to approve the second reading of the 2015-16 budget.
Have a motion. Have a second. Second by Commissioner House. I'm sorry. Motion by Commissioner Townsend and second by Commissioner House. Any discussions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Townsend?
Yes.
Commissioner House?
Yes.
Commissioner Darden?
Yes.
Motion carried and approved. Thank you. And City Manager and all department heads, I really appreciate the hard work y'all did of this approval of this budget.
Let me say one thing. I appreciate the work that this commission has played in adopting this budget. We probably took more time and effort in this budget than I have probably in any budget I've ever worked on. And it's there's some trying times, and we've done some difficult things. Y'all did. And we commend for the effort that's put in. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Connors,
Yes, sir, Your Honor, sir.
each one of these need to be signed?
No, sir, just the top one with the paper clip, the other is just for the commissioners.
Okay.
It's a standard budget ordinance that we use all the time.
Everybody get a copy, and then I'll pass the signature copy. Sir? Okay. That's it. You can put one down. You just ready to pay, Commissioner Reddish? All right, and I'll start his signature, and if you will. Start to my right, and then we'll pass it back down to the left. Yeah, on that. Thank you, sir. All right, moving on into the DDA map. Our downtown director.
I think you have it next.
Yeah, the maps, I saw the maps in here, weren't they? Okay. And this is one that we need to,
No, sir, this has all of the change.
I've got it.
okay, good.
It
That's
may
what
have,
your email was?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think it may have changed a couple. I don't remember which. You have all the emails, so all
Yeah.
the change
Yeah.
versions. I don't know which version it was.
Well, I printed the last one.
Everybody's got one?
Yep, everybody's got one.
Yes, sir.
Everybody got it?
You read
This is exactly.
This is what we're
doing in emails. This is exactly what you, this is
Yeah.
exactly what you want.
Yeah.
that was
Yes, they met with Mr. Connors, and I read through it, and Mr. Connors, I emailed us a little bit more about the area. Connor had sent some information in about what I find here, Central Business District that you put in the handout for all of us to read, talk about the public parks and all that. I think that was part of it. Is that what?
Now, I may have handed you too much, because
Okay.
what we did with the DDA is we basically, restated its obvious purpose. We just basically amended the entire DDA code section vis-a-vis the city code. Remember, the other issues we had was to return membership or term membership to what was provided for in state law. That was one of the excellent recommendations made by Commissioner Harris. So that is in there too, and then of course the map issue is in there, is in there as well. We did some other cleanups, they're all in the ordinance. If I handed you Central Business District, that goes to Mr. Harris' zoning issue.
Okay.
But the DDA map and the DDA ordinance that you have incorporate Mr. Harris's suggestions, his honor, the mayor's suggestions as to the geography, and the other tweaks that we had discussed at the other meeting. And I have gotten a lot of feedback from various and sundry folks, and we've incorporated all the various feedback we received.
Okay.
This is the map, this is central, that's the map.
That is the map.
This is gonna be the map.
That's the map of the DDA, that's not the map of the central. That's the business district under the DDA, not the business district for the zoning.
Okay.
It's a
I'm
different.
sorry. I've got too many zoning issues here.
Yeah, don't get them
Yeah.
mixed up.
And this is the ordinance.
Ordinance,
Yes,
that's
sir.
correct.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
And this is what the last thing that you sent us.
Yes, sir.
And it meets with everybody loves it. Can we pass the ordinance tonight?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Along with the map.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I would make that as a motion.
All right. Have a motion by Commissioner House to approve the DDA map and the ordinance for the DDA. We have a second by Commissioner Harris. Any other discussion?
It's been long, and I hope that we've got this thing worked out absolutely once and forever.
There, once again, I do want to thank Mr. Connor for the due diligence on this and making a great ordinance that work from now on. All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Townsend,
Yes.
Commissioner House,
Yes.
Commissioner Reddish,
Yes.
Commissioner Darden,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Mr. Connor, once again, thank you.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Ms. Kicklighter, thank you for assistance on this today. All right, new business. Mr. Harris, the 2014-15 audit review.
Yes, sir.
I figured Harris, somebody'd get up, so it was good.
Can't go wrong, huh?
That's exactly right. That's right.
Well, we want to say thank y'all for having us before you to talk about this is, by the way, the 2014 audit. 2015 will be coming up soon. We're sorry for the delay. We got back what is the cleanest report on the City of Jesup audit report. Very clean audit report from the state, given all the changes and things going on this year. So we're very pleased with that. And just want to talk a little bit initially about what we do as auditors, so that council and commissioners understand exactly what our role is and what we do, and then get into the actual financials of how the city did last year, and talk a little about that as well, along with some recommendations for the council to think about as we move forward. So in our role as auditors, we're testing based on what they call materiality, which means based on this size government, there is only so much that we can test, and given the time that we have, the resources, and the economies, meaning the budget and the price. So we can't possibly look at every check that's written in the city, or the citizens in this town would be broke. But I say that jokingly, but there is a level of materiality there where we do look at everything above that level and we do sample below that level. So it's not that we don't look below that level, we do. But it would be impossible to test everything that the city does, both income and expense wise, not including all the other activities that may happen. So with that being said, the materiality level at the big government level for assets and everything is $56,000. On the fund level for the general fund, it's $45,000. So anything under that, we're hoping that the council, Ms. Rose, and the rest of the financial staff is doing a good job, and thus far, as best we can tell, they're doing an excellent job with that. We do pull samples and look at it, so all has looked good thus far. We don't have any reason to doubt that things aren't where they're supposed to be at. As auditors, we're providing the assurance that the financial statements aren't misstated, meaning that you don't have an error that's above that $45,000 or $56,000 limit. And we, in this audit report, can state that we truly believe there is no errors in financial statements above that amount. Now, it does not mean there may not be an error below that amount. We're auditors, and anything below that amount can slip through the cracks, and we may not catch it. So we do look for, just give you an idea of what we're testing for. We're testing for accuracy. We're ensuring all the transactions are recorded in the correct period and they are properly classified. We're also looking for compliance with grant and loan provisions to ensure that all of the controls are in place there. Make sure that all laws and regulations are being followed according to regulatory agencies and any oversight agencies. And also making sure that hopefully all the controls are in place to detect and prevent fraud or abuse. Doesn't mean it can't happen and we may not miss it. Just means that we believe the controls are in place to catch it and prevent it. Some of the procedures that we go through, we look at invoices, examine invoices, including subsequent periods, not just the year under audit. We also will look into the next year a little bit. We also review receipts. We observe what's going on in the office, make sure that procedures and rules are followed. We talk to personnel, city manager, Ms. Rose, and other staff members. We also talk to, sometimes we'll talk to grant agencies. We'll talk to GIFA, the loan people at the state of Georgia, find out, make sure everything's up to par. If there's a question, we call them, ask them. We also look at analytical procedures from year to year. Does this look reasonable? Is it looking high, low? Is it off? Why is it off? And then also any known circumstances, situations we know about, from being in the city, reading the newspaper, being in contact with Ms. Rose, city manager, Mr. Deal, and others throughout the city. Those are just a couple of things that we look at, and just some of the procedures and testing that we do to ensure that the city's in compliance and the financial statements are not materially misstated. So now if we take a look at financials, if you guys will turn with me to page 14 in the audit report. This is the government-wide financials. There are two sets of financial statements for all governments that come down per GASB. One set is the government-wide. It looks at the total picture. That includes all your assets, all your liabilities. That's everything, and it's done on the accrual basis. Second set is the fund financials, which looks more on the current view. It doesn't include assets. It doesn't include liabilities. It just wants to know what revenue and what did you spend this year. So even if you spend it on debt, it's recorded as an expense. So we'll start at the government-wide level, which is the big high level. You can see, well, you can't see, but I'll tell you from year to year. Prior year's not in there. Cash increased year over year on the governmental activities by $1.33 million from 2013 to 2014. A lot of that was in SPLOST. About $1.2 million was in SPLOST. You had $65,000 in capital projects and $77,000 in the other governmental funds, which are your special revenue funds. And total cash for all governmental activities was $3.97 million, almost right at $4 million, and 2.4 of that was in the general fund alone. Also, if you'll notice on page 14, business type activities, that would be the water sewer fund. Cash increased by $2.4 million year over year in the water sewer fund, and there's $6.5 million in cash in water and sewer at the end of 2014. Will caution, we had a small hiccup with GIFA there, so some of that did come back out to them. We got that discussed and cleared with the authorities with GIFA. And I know Mr. Deal and some others were made aware of that situation. Also, if you look on page 14, unrestricted net assets increased by $588,000. Investment in capital assets was up $2.3 million, and capital projects was up $690,000. A lot of your investment in capital assets increase is going to be caused by the contribution of the farmers market and the old Jesup Elementary building. That's where the majority of that would come from. That'll also cause your big jump in revenues and expenses on the fund side as well, as you'll see in a moment. On page 16, this is the revenues, kind of a summary of the revenues and expenses. You'll see that net assets increased by $3.35 million. A good portion of that was due to, as I said, the donation of the farmers market and the old Jesup Elementary, and just some good fiscal policy, good controlled spending. Also, and you won't see it, but if you look at the prior year, there is going to be a big shift in other revenues. A lot of that was shifting the SPLOST and T-SPLOST proceeds around due to the state auditor's office. That was being shifted around into capital grants and contributions, which is also revenues just listed up above versus down below. But it's all in the financial statements. If you'll flip with me to page 17, and you'll see this also on page 20, this is the fund financial statements. This is more of a current year, closer to cash. They call it modified accrual. It's a little bit closer to cash basis. For anyone who has a small business, you'll know what I mean by this. What do we take in, what do we spend this year? So net assets or fund balance, on the fund financials increased by $1.056 million. The general fund contributed $365,000 of that increase. SPLOST increased $632,000. That was the other part of that big jump. Revenues on page 19. Revenues increased $2.125 million. Again, that was due to the farmers market. Old Jesup Elementary, we record that contribution revenues as also an offsetting expense as well. You'll see the expenditures increased $2.5 million, almost the same amount. There were some other small increases in expenditures, but overall, the primary increase was due to farmers market and the Old Jesup Elementary building. Feel free to jump in and ask any questions, by the way. Page 22, water and sewer assets. This is the page with the assets. The assets increased $4 million. Most of that is due to the increase, due to the construction of the new wastewater treatment plant. That was still under construction, but that gets added in construction in progress. So we had a lot of work done on that last year, so you got a big jump there in the assets for water and sewer fund. You also got a big jump in the liabilities because of the loans that were used to construct the water sewer plant, the new water sewer plant. And also part of the loans is the city did have two loans. The first loan was completely drawn down before year end. The second loan, they had begun to draw down on the second loan. Part of the conditions of the second loan was if the city spent the money, they got $500,000 loan forgiveness on that loan. And speaking with GIFA authorities, they already prorated part of that forgiveness based on the amount that was drawn down last year. The remainder will be picked up in this year. And that was about $349,000 that was forgiven last year. The remainder should be picked up this year. On water sewer, fund balance, page 24. If you look down at the bottom, change in net position, this is kind of like net income. It increased almost right at $1.2 million last year. A lot of that was due to the increased water and sewer rates. We got a full year under our belt with that. Part of it's the loan forgiveness, that's picked up as income, and just controlling the expenses. So we just had a good year in water sewer there. The revenues increased $500,000. A lot of that is you got a full year of increased water rates, whereas in the prior year we only had, I believe, it was 9 or 10 months worth. So we missed a couple of months there on the increase of water rates in the prior year. Expenses increased about $270,000. A lot of that was insurance and repairs and maintenance. $50,000 was insurance. $100,000 was repairs and maintenance of that $270,000. Other small increases in salaries and other small expenses there that increased throughout the year. Also, there was some interest expense, $118,000. That was part of the repayment on that first GIFA loan that had began repayment before the end of last year.
What was the $350,000 on miscellaneous revenue?
A lot of that's going to be, the $349,000 would be the loan forgiveness. They classify as miscellaneous income. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yes, sir. Couple recommendations going forward for the city. We believe the city should look at ways to increase the general fund revenues. The general fund's been good, but it's been dwindling. And I know, and some of y'all are going, I'm sure, know some of the reasons behind it. A suggestion we're going to give is maybe look at transferring the sanitation or trash into its own enterprise fund. You can do it. I know quite a few governments that I've had audits with in the past in West Georgia have a separate trash fund. It will give you a more accurate representation of the actual revenue and expenditures with that fund and see, are we making money, losing money, how much are we making or losing? And that'll pull out that section also out of the general fund, so then you truly have strictly general fund activities. And that's just something to think about going forward. I believe I understand the trash rates were just raised a little bit here recently, so that may offset some of it. But just something to think about. Also, the city does have quite a few SPLOST proceeds left on the SPLOST 2 that the county maintains for the city. That's money that the city remits over, the invoices and the county pays for them. There's quite a bit that was left in there at the end of last year that the city can utilize on capital projects, road, water, sewer. I think they've got a few projects there either have started or getting ready to start to utilize some of those funds. Also, there's going to be some changes coming for the financial statements. Actually, change coming next year on pensions. We've gotten away and been lucky thus far in just strictly reporting mainly the changes in pension and the current year contributions. But going forward on the government-wide level, they're going to make us pick up the unfunded liability. Knock on wood, the city's in great shape. They're about 97% funded, which is much better than quite a few governments, and just ask the state of Illinois how they're doing. Not good at all. But that's coming down, and as well also on OPEB, which is other post-employment health benefits for retirees. The health insurance and benefits they're offered to retirees when they do retire, they are going to make the city start picking up that unfunded liability. And the city is on a pay-as-you-go basis, so that liability will be a little bit bigger than the pension one will. Those are coming down. Pension is already hitting next year. That's effective this coming year, this new fiscal year. I believe is about 2 years away, and it will become effective. It'll change the unrestricted fund balance probably quite significantly. Yes, sir. A couple other things we want to touch on. We want to encourage the city and the commissioners to conserve those resources in water sewer. I know that cash balance is awfully tempting. Conserve those resources, though. We know the city will have some line replacement and sewer upgrades that will be needed probably in the next few years. Some significant upgrades, I know. And those will be very costly, and this will keep the city hopefully from having to borrow any money or very little money by conserving those resources and building a little nest egg over there in water sewer. It is going to be a pretty good overhaul that's probably coming in a few years. Also, want to consider just small increases every year, every other year in water sewer. I know we had a big jump. There was some, I know, a little uproar about that. We feel like some small increases will help those on fixed income and also just keeps pace with inflation. A lot of times smaller increases are a lot more adapt to handle an increase of $1 or $2 here and there versus, doubling the bill, which I don't know that double, but quite a few folks had, I know, quite a bit of complaint about that. So just something to think about. Otherwise, we believe the city's doing a great job. They're doing a great job controlling expenses. City council, city managers, we thank you for the job that you do. We think y'all, the city's doing a great job providing the best best services it can to the citizens of the city, given the resources and the funds that we have. Are there any questions I can answer for anyone?
Well, I think all of us would like to take a chance to look at it. Good reading material.
Yes, sir. It's very long, very detailed. There should be a copy of 13, I believe. Ms. Rose, don't we have a copy of 13 audit in there somewhere? I know we had some extras, I believe.
No, I've got it.
I was going to say there should be some copies in there. We can look at some of the comparisons there from year to year. Yes, sir. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to give us a call at any time. We'll be more than happy to answer those, help to understand anything that might be in this audit report. And once again, we just thank you for the opportunity to be of service to the citizens of Jesup and the city council, and please let us know if we can help you with anything.
I'd like to thank Mr. Harris and Mr. Harris and the other Harrises, but for the job on this and the suggestions. I think that helps us more than anything as council members and mayor is, there's some folks that do the accounting, and there's some folks that sell insurance, and there's some folks that do computers, so we need all the help we can get.
Yes,
So
sir.
we appreciate that and working with Mr. Deal on this information.
Yes, sir. Well, we thank y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you, Chris. All right, Mr. Don Herring, the zoning ordinance, C1, can you help us with that?
Yes, I request to amend the zoning ordinance to allow the law apartments in the central business district, the C1. I've already taken it before the zoning board, because they have approved it.
The zoning board has approved it?
Yes.
Okay.
This has been advertised?
Yes,
This is
yes. Yes, it has been.
Yeah.
This was not addressed prior in rebuilding. We have some already that was approved, and it's really not addressed. And with the new buildings going up, and some other people wanting to do some, loft apartment, we just felt like it needed to be addressed, and that's what.
Yes, we already have some downtown, and as far as they're now non-conforming, which it could cause problems with them, but they used to be, the ones that's already there.
We've been kind of after this for a number of years, and up until now, generally speaking, we probably haven't had to do this. But now with the new building and the new construction and so on, I think it's actually a good thing. We've been trying to get this to come to downtown Jesup for years, and that's good. And I think it's a good thing. And as a consequence, if it's been properly advertised, I'll offer that as a motion to amend the ordinance.
Have a motion to amend the
Second.
ordinance, got by Commissioner House, a second by Commissioner Townsend. Any discussions?
Everything is,
Yes, sir. If you look at Appendix A zoning of the city code, section 121, it provides the authority to amend, provides that the city may from time to time amend the zoning ordinances, including the uses therein. Section 124 provides a procedure for amendment. There is a newspaper advertisement requirement. It's 15 days notice. I looked at the notice when I got the agenda on Friday, and the newspaper notice seems to meet the requirements, so it would appear to be in order. And the only thing you're doing is amending C1 to add a use, which is loft apartment.
The law department. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner House,
yes.
Commissioner Reddish,
Yes.
Commissioner Darden,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Townsend.
Yes.
Ordinance has passed. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ponder.
Yes, sir.
Terry? Mr. Terry, you have a variance request
Yes,
also
sir.
provided to us?
Have a grant request from Mr. Tumblin. He said there.
How are you, Mr. Dunbar?
Just fine, how are you?
All right, sir.
He's requesting a variance of putting a carport in front of his residence.
Okay, and this was also brought before the zoning board?